Do not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's going on? How are y'all doing? Good to see y'all. All right, so today's topic is about transferring your case. Here's what it means and what to expect. Okay, folks, so here's the deal. When there is a case transfer, in the past, it wouldn't mean much, okay? It would be kind of confusing, and more so because they're trying to balance the kind of workflow in terms of capacity for their office with USCIS. And with that being said, it didn't provide any kind of update to the client, right? To you as an applicant, like, okay, great, wonderful, case is transferred, and it still takes it took maybe 6 months, right? There's no black and white number. But for example, the difference though, right now, okay, that we've noticed, at least in 2023 trend, is that even though it might not be faster, okay, but there's a better realistic expectation that when you receive a transfer notice, and especially when you have sued the government, now it may not necessarily require a lawsuit, but when you do receive a transfer notice, you're probably more likely to receive some kind of feeling of that your cases, that USCIS is actually reviewing your case. Now, what I'm saying, transfer notice, is not necessarily the same thing I'm talking about. Like when you look online, it says actively in review or active review. That's not always the same thing, because sometimes these case statuses will stay the same for many months, and you're thinking, what the hell is going on? So, and not necessarily like if it's old case that was filed maybe 2 years ago, those cases tend to be stuck, because I don't know, USCIS is not really have a good system in terms of taking care of cases that were filed a long time ago. Okay, they tend to handle cases that are most recent, like last in, first out. So the most recently filed cases, they tend to get those cases completed sooner, which doesn't help the folks that have been backlogged from before or during the pandemic. It's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. And so that forces people to have to maybe file a mandamus lawsuit, which is an extra cost. We're here to help you. I certainly feel bad if someone has to pay more fees, court fees, filing fees, let alone attorney's fees, right? This is not something we would love to do necessarily. I wish USCIS would just approve the case and give it to you, but we're here to help you, okay? And in some situations, like especially last week, I recall like there's several people last week that were like, it's a little bit too early, or you need to do XYZ first before we file a lawsuit. Like it would be better to do something else, like submit an inquiry. Now, normally I don't suggest that, but because of their specific scenario, maybe they probably need to provide more information, even though the visa officer or USCIS did not ask. We recommend doing that, right? So before you file a lawsuit. So it just depends on the people, everyone's situation. But yeah, transferring the case, I remember because someone actually hired us from mandamus, I think about a couple weeks ago, and I think it was like the next day they received a transfer notice. So we said, okay, let's hold off. Let's make sure to see if before we file a lawsuit, maybe let's see if they give you a decision or RFE within 30 days, within a month. But if not, and you're willing to continue, then we'll go ahead and file a lawsuit. But some people, or some scenarios, in every scenario like that, we're happy to refund, but ultimately you still need to have the mindset like, is USCIS going to do anything on my case? If not, then you need to be ready to file that lawsuit. Okay. So that kind of give you an idea. On all these delays can happen for any case. It's very unfortunate, but like I mentioned in previous videos, shows that I mentioned, the most common case where USCIS has the 2023 trend of approving cases without an interview, and not just without interview, but our case experience recently for married cases, adjustment of status, 3 to 5 months. Okay, amazing. It's amazing, and I credit my team for getting these cases filed within a timely manner. And it's based on our service plans. We have the Pro, Light, Pro, and Max. Okay. And Max, we file cases to USCIS, for example, within 30 days. If it's employee based or investor, it's 45 days. But otherwise, you can drop down to the Pro, and then Light plan is 90 days. Now, if anyone ever wonders, like, hey, I'm thinking about the Light plan, also because it's less cost, attorney fees, and you get a pretty good amount of service for it. Will you actually hold the case? Like I'm going to plan to give you everything in 30 days or 45 days. Are you going to hold it to 90 days and then file? No, I mean, as long as you give us everything and that we need on a checklist, and also the government fees and the signature forms, and you reviewed the information that we ask you to, and you sign our due diligence checklist, essential letter, we'll send it as soon as possible. We're not going to hold it all the way to 90 days or whatever the time expectation is per your service plan that you selected with us. It's more about being intentional and sharing those expectations. So, because some people call us and say, look, I've already talked to like 3 different lawyers. And we always ask, like, do they tell you how soon they're going to file the case? And most people say no, or they say they have no idea. Like, no idea is like actually, or don't know is actually some lawyer's response, which is kind of crazy to me. It's not it's actually like bizarre to me, because people are paying for a service. You would think it's kind of like, I'm not saying it's like an emergency. Not every immigration situation is like a plumbing situation where it's an emergency, right? Because I would think anything plumbing related is an emergency, and you need that done as soon as possible. So, I mean, unless someone's being removed from the country or in the process of like being put on a plane for deportation, that would be an emergency. But most everything else is not necessarily. But I could be wrong. Maybe for you it's something different. Maybe, obviously like a deadline, responding to a deadline, RFE or notice of intent to deny. Those typically are emergency, need to be done sooner than later. But still, either way, that's why we're very intentional and share how soon we're going to file the case, because we don't. In fact, I give my team prizes. Okay, if our leadership provides bonuses to our team members if they file the case with a timely manner, right? Because I want to make sure that our clients get taken care of. If you're an employer, you're a company, you might understand this. I know there's some conservative folks out there like, why do you need to give bonuses to your team for things that they should be doing anyway? Yes, they're doing the work, but if it could be done sooner than someone else and just helping them prioritize cases, that's what I do. I just recorded like 3 training videos for my team. I do that every single day to make sure that we can get things done sooner than later for people who call in, and also for clients. Okay. And I know it's strange. Like, there's some cases that we actually don't accept, but that's us being very intentional in the service that we can provide. But there's also so many other lawyers, right? We love to point people in the right direction, so others can help you with that service. All right. So if you don't know, we do offer free 15 minutes to for folks who maybe need one question answered. That tends to happen. Maybe it's a couple questions, whether it's 5, doesn't matter. I understand maybe you have a lawyer right now and you're a little concerned about the delay. Don't give your current lawyer a hard time, because most lawyers, even if they do know about mandamus, some don't, but even if they don't know about mandamus lawsuit as a remedy to a delayed case, we don't like to step on any attorney's toes, but most attorneys don't help with that, right? So we're happy to help you and get your case moving. All right, now to the questions. Hello, Roop. Nice to see you. Okay, your question: any news on pending asylum cases? So I think you mean in terms of filing or interview. Roop, when was your case filed for asylum? 589. But I haven't seen any recent news. I try to check every day. We get email alerts, so we try our best to keep updated. But I don't. Were you expecting something recent? Sometimes the government or the news will say something that's like, okay, this is XYZ is upcoming, but kind of like a you know a law proposal, a bill, but it doesn't actually do anything. Sometimes whatever the media might receive from the government might not be accurate because maybe the government doesn't follow through with what they're going to do. Okay, Rube, you said 2016. Ooh, that's a long time. Okay, yeah. So under President Trump, they did have a policy to say last in, first out, and they were doing that because they were trying to discourage. Oh, filed in 2016, I think we were trying to say. Yeah, they were back then they were trying to discourage people from filing, right? Because they were thinking, well, if people know that they're not going to have an interview for a long time, then they're more likely to file now. That's a conservative mindset. Look, folks, maybe like Roop, like if you're have a fear of your country for whatever reason it is, and even if the reason doesn't fit the legal standard for asylum, it's still a genuine, bona fide, non frivolous claim of asylum. Okay. Because when people come here, they don't know the legal standard, right, of asylum. You're just claiming asylum and you're just trying to see if it would work. And of course, I always recommend hiring a lawyer that only handles asylum, or at least that's the primary case type, because it does require attorneys to, just like anything else, to stay updated with the law and the policies, especially if it's a claim of government persecution by the government, okay, or state actors, what we call it. All right, you did timely get your EAD. Okay, that's good. But Roop, if you have no fear or no concern about sharing the legitimacy of your claim, you might want to consider filing a lawsuit. Okay, but because we've had a lot of cases that people were filed back in 2016 or earlier. And that actually was right around the time that I believe President Trump at the time changed that policy to last in, first out. They said they changed it now. There was a couple months, I believe, from one of my colleagues, Brian Manning, shared that they were going back to last in, first out. But I don't think they changed. I think they changed it back to the normal way. Okay, but to process older cases. But then again, we've noticed that cases from like 2016, around that time, they're stuck. So again, we only encourage mandamus lawsuits for asylum if to get that interview, if you of course are telling truth, which of course you don't have to mention that here on live show. Let's see, Samir Ali, you're asking U visa increase limit used to be they have 10,000 now. How much limit? If you have an answer for that, they haven't changed the law on that. That's set by Congress, so it is 10,000 U visa cap every fiscal year. So I don't know. Happy to look at your source if you found something. Again, this sounds like a similar situation where maybe you read something that they're thinking about changing it. That'd be great. There's a lot of immigration advocacy groups, including myself, would prefer that there is no limit to U visa because people are victims of a crime. I mean, why should there be a limit to wait? But yeah, that'd be great if we can share that, Samir. Happy to take a look at that. Okay, Rayesh, you're asking, you are F1 student. You got NIW, got approved 2 months ago. Woo! Congratulations. Nice. Okay, you also got TPS during your F1. But if you fall out of F1 status now, will you be able to apply for 485 when the visa bulletin becomes current? Ooh, this is a great question. This is a complex legal issues. So I'll try to make it as succinct as possible. But we do have several people call in about a question like this. So Rayesh, or anyone else watching this later on, if what I'm about to share with you is not resonating or if it's not understandable, I apologize. I'm just trying to share it quickly. But you might want to schedule for a paid consultation because these tend to take longer to explain. But the short response to this is, number one, yes, you're gonna have a problem. The good thing is, though, you have a TPS. But the problem in general, regardless of TPS or not, is that number one, unlawful presence, okay, will be an issue when it hits at least 180 days in America without legal status, okay? So, and number two is the maintaining status. So when you file for 485 application, the USCIS wants to see what your legal status is for excuse me, for maintaining status. Okay, so if there's a non-immigrant visa like F1, L1, H1B, the government only allows up to 180 days of no status. Okay, and that's based on Immigration Nationality Act 245K. Okay, only 180 days. So of course, we don't know if it's going to be under 180 days for you, Rayesh, because sounds like your visa bulletin is not current, right? So um, I don't know what your priority date is, but let's just actually let me see if I can pull it up. Which country are you at, or at? Which country are you national of? Okay. Oh, I guess Rayesh is also River Science. Okay, looks like you both are the same person. Okay, but yeah, River Science or Rayesh, if you're able to share which country your prior date is March 15th, ROW. Let me click on June visa bulletin. Excuse me, just talking too fast and then choking on spit. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. All right. So let's go to share my screen. Okay, so for those on Instagram, I can only share my screen on YouTube and Facebook the way the software works, so I apologize. All right, but we got Rayesh. Let me change that to River Science so people can see your YouTube name instead of your real name. Okay, so let me just assume that's a fake name. All right, so let's go down to employment based. Okay, that's final action. So for chart B, for example, I think you said your priority date is March 15th. I don't know what year that is, but I don't want to assume you're a national from India. But yeah, let's say India, then 2012, right? So that's a long time for the visa bulletin. I know it's okay, March 15th, 2023. Okay, is your priority date. Right, because you just got that done. That makes sense. Yeah, and that's kind of like the I mean, it saved you some time in terms of getting a priority date, right? You didn't have to wait for the labor certification, but then you still have to wait for the visa bulletin to show current. So that's or your priority date when it reaches. But it sucks for lack of a better word. This wait time is ridiculous, right? So EB2 May 2012 if you are a national of India, or otherwise if you're from a different country, and I don't mean to generalize, but maybe from a different country, then it shows EB2 December 2022, and we're right now in May 2023. So that's a good thing. Oh, you're in all chargeability? Okay, great. Good to hear. So you don't have to wait that long. Thank goodness. Yeah, maybe roughly about 5 months or so. I'm sorry, 3 or 4 months based on your March priority date. That's good. That's good. Yeah. If I were you, I would just check every month. It might be a little frustrating because you're checking every month, but you definitely don't want to miss anything. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's better if you can maintain your F1. I know paying international tuition is expensive, but there is an argument, a legal argument that says if you want to go through TPS, but if you go through TPS try to show maintaining status, it is possible. through TPS as a visa V instead of like a typical non-immigrant visa, but you have to apply for advanced parole and we call AP or travel document 131, and then actually travel and come back. But some, as lawyers, we always like to share that that is a risk. But fortunately, knock on wood, we've had clients that are successful. But that's just a worst case scenario. Okay, you always want. I always prefer if clients have plan A, plan B, that you try to keep both plans up until the last moment that you can't keep plan A. Does that make sense? So, um, but yeah, so you need to call in to a lawyer, have a consultation. Of course, it'll be our pleasure to assist you from right now to the finish. But you do want to make sure you get clarity on this, okay? Because with being on YouTube, some people like listen to bits and parts of it, depending what you because you probably most people are probably multitasking. I think I'm assuming that's what I do when I'm watching YouTube. So yeah, call in to make sure, okay? So hopefully that helps. All right, so let's see. Let me go to Tasha. Okay, you're asking about hello there, Tasha. If USCIS told you your IR5, trying to move it so I can see the comment. Transfer to field office. What are the chances it's actually there? And your field office is like 38 months. I'm assuming you mean months for processing. What are the chances of hearing from them soon? Okay. um, okay, so let's see. Yeah, so 38 months. Let me see this other section. I was going to share some other info about transfer notice, but are you in you're going through adjustment of status, right? And which location is your field office? I don't think you wrote that in there, but let's take a quick look on that. Okay. And I'm happy to look at the processing times for you. We go to tools on the USCIS page. Okay. Let me go to processing times. But yeah, back to the question of the day. Typically, for transfer notices, again, it's basically when the government has staffing issues or they're recognizing staffing issues, meaning like there's less people working in the original office, or for capacity reasons, maybe they have quote unquote enough workers, government officers, but reviewing the cases, but there's just too many cases for them to review. So that's what I consider for my office as well in terms of capacity. Okay, you're in Atlanta. Thanks for sharing that. And then, okay, you're in Atlanta. Let me go to the case processing time. Let me share my screen. Let me move the comment so people can see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here we are at the USCIS website. I'm assuming you filed 485 based on family. And let me click on Atlanta. Yeah, they tend to be slower also. Okay, well, right now it says 36 months. If you have a question, yeah, you go ahead and ask, and I'll try to get to it soon. When did you file it, Tasha? Okay, because I don't know if you knew this, but you can put in your receipt date in here from your receipt notice. So let me just put in a random one here. I'm gonna put January 1st, 2020. Or let me put 2021. Okay. And it still says it is nuts. Let me increase the font size. I put a receipt date from January 1st, 2021 for Atlanta field office for 485, and it still shows your case is still processing normally. That is bizarre. And it says the earliest you can submit a question, to USCIS, just say, hey, what's up with my case? March 18th, 2025. That is ridiculous. So basically 2 years. It's 2023 right now, in the beginning, in the spring. This is ridiculous. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Tasha, for your case, you said your PD is March 2022. So let's put that in. Let's put a little more accurate information for you. Let's put March 1st, 2022, and see what it says. It'll say your case still processing normally, and you can't file a submit inquiry online until May 16th, 2026. If I could, yeah, I don't want to use those words. If I could shake up USCIS, that's a PC word right there. If I could shake up USCIS, say, what's going on? We got to put the right people in the right spot, just like my own business, law firm, and get these cases processed in a timely manner. So, unfortunately, Tasha, I know it's crazy. Do you have to file a lawsuit? You filed 2022, 2023 now. I mean, maybe wait at least 3 or 4 months. And it doesn't matter. People always ask, do I have to wait the same amount of time that it says on that processing time table on USCIS website? It's a good indication for us, like how the hell, like what's going on, but it doesn't mean you have to wait the full 36, 38 months, or even for someone else if it shows. Now it's different. Like if it showed 12 months, not going to file a lawsuit, because before the pandemic, cases like this would normally take 12 months on average. But to wait 3 years, that's not right. In fact, it was so bad in at least Baltimore field office, Baltimore, Maryland, that House of Representatives in Congress, Steny Hoyer, I think that's his name, he sent a press release or letter to the Baltimore field office with USCIS and said, "What the hell is going on?" I'm just paraphrasing. And the processing time, let me see if I can pull that up actually. That processing time there reduced significantly. And this kind of data here, folks, this is what we share in our Facebook group. So actually, I got to check with my marketing team on that. But if you want to join our Facebook group, there it is. But look, check it out. Okay, Baltimore field office, 22 months. It was not like that a couple months ago. It was, I think, reaching 40 months, if not more. So they got their, sorry for my French, they got their shit together a little bit better. But it shows 22 months now. But yeah, ooh, Atlanta, 36 months. Y'all gotta pick it up. And look, we're not here to blame the officers or the people working with USCIS. It's probably they got their hands tied, right? In the sense, like, they maybe need better leadership to help them process cases faster. Okay. So anyway, this is kind of data we share on tinglawclub.com. Join the club and go to the Facebook group. If you don't have Facebook, then of course, don't feel like you got to join. But speaking of that, we do have a TikTok account, an English one in English language. If you have TikTok, please give it a follow. Green Card Guys _John. I would greatly appreciate it. I don't dance too much, but I do try to share tips in a little bit different way than I do on YouTube. I sound too serious on YouTube, so my team said I gotta join TikTok apparently. So please give it a follow if you have TikTok already, and try not to let apps like this suck you in too much, okay? Because people do share some good stuff there. Surprisingly, let's see. Okay, MG 007. You had an application back in the 90s, this through your parents, but since they have separated, your mom since then is a U.S. resident. Okay, wonderful. We're trying to get her U.S. citizenship. Do you know where is a time lapse for her trying to help me out? Since then, you've talked to a lawyer and they told you to go through the resident. It's 20 something years. And they said the same thing about being a U.S. citizen. It's 20 something years or 10 years. Well, first, okay. Dang, you're on Instagram, so you can't see it. Because I would love to share my screen. You're welcome, Tasha. And by the way, folks, like Tasha, if you have received some value from the information I shared, if you don't mind, we'd greatly appreciate it if you can go to reviewtinglaw.com, and would love your experience, especially if you actually spoke with one of our CARES team members, CARES team specialists when you called in before. They mention that team member's name, because our leadership does provide them prizes at the end of the month. because we always love to encourage customer service. So give us a shout over there. That gives us a little bit more motivation to keep going and share the tips. So on that note, okay, MG, but I'll still share my screen and review this for other folks who are on the YouTube and Facebook. Okay, so yeah, please smash the like button or the hearts if you enjoy our content. And this might be one of the last questions, but if for some reason we don't get to you, or if I missed you on accident, yeah, I see someone, Jane. I'll get to you as soon as I can. But let me just talk about this scenario real quick. Trying to figure out the pathways. People tend to be a little stuck. Like, should my mom become a U.S. citizen? That'd be great. Hey, if she wants to vote in the future, that'd be great. But sometimes, depending on the country, it might not be advantageous to file for citizenship. But there is automatic conversion. There's not automatic. It's going to be manual conversion in that sense. So it also depends. Some what I'm sharing. I'm trying to enlarge my screen on YouTube and Facebook. Okay, there we go. So for family-based applications. All right, there we go. That should be large enough. So it depends on several things. Are you married? Are you single? Is your parent who's going to file for you a U.S. citizen or a resident? Now, of course, the wait time is significantly more if you're F2B category, meaning unmarried or single and over 21, or it's through a sibling who's a U.S. citizen, or what we call F3 for that you're married and also your sponsor, like your mom, parent, is a U.S. citizen. So for here, I'm just gonna go. I don't know what country you're from or national of, MG. If you're still on Instagram, let me know which country you're from. Okay, you're not married. Thanks. So you're not married, and your mom would be a sponsor, and I'm assuming you're over 21 based on your small photo there on Instagram. So F2B is what your category is. I think you're familiar with that. Which country? Mexico. Okay. So you're out of Mexico, then the prior date. Oh, yeah. Jeez. The prior date right now is June 2001, which even if your mom became a citizen, which of course would give her wonderful benefits, that prior date is April 2001. So it's not much different. But depending on country, the strategy could be different. But, I would suggest if she wants to become a U.S. citizen, and then let's say you do get married in that scenario. I wish everyone the best, but finding the right match is not so easy. But if you do get married, because people want to know, like, how can it affect my case? Then the prior date they're working on right now is 1997. It's 2023. What in the world is going on? So that's potentially 26 years of wait time. That's nuts. That's freaking nuts. So yeah, I think yeah. It's so more or less. So that's why it's good. Thanks for sharing that information, MG007. That because the strategy can depend on your scenario, your own facts. Okay, your own is what we call your immigration history, your facts of your life, essentially. And that's why before you get married, you might want to anyone, not just 007, but you might want to contact a lawyer, immigration lawyer, to see if you should wait on the marriage. Now, of course, if you're getting married to a U.S. citizen, that's different. But yeah, and it's kind of weird, right, to get legal strategy before you get married. I'm not trying to hold anyone up, but you might want to consider talking to an immigration lawyer, especially if your sponsor is like you're like one of your parents is your sponsor. Okay. So how many years is the wait for you currently under F2B? Yeah, I would say roughly estimated 22 years, assuming you already had your mom file petition. I don't know. It sounds like you said 10 years. Well, it depends. It sounds like maybe you did file already, right? If you filed already, then I'm assuming your priority date is, since you say 10 years, maybe your priority date's like 2013, maybe? Is that when you filed your mom filed petition? 2013, around then if that's so, around 2013, then yeah, you got about 10 years. But I would just check this every year. You never know when Congress will update it, or the Visa Department of State will update the visa bulletin, um, much more quickly. But typically, historically, no, they're very slow. So even if right now it shows June 2001 for you, okay, MG007 for this category for Mexico, and this is under Chart B. I'm sorry. Ooh, I was looking at the wrong chart. Yeah. So we first look at the Chart B, but it also depends if you're in the US or not. So MG, you might want to contact us. That's a long wait time. Anytime there's a long wait time, by the way, there's two different charts, Chart A and Chart B. The law is sometimes can be complex. So sometimes USCIS will say, okay, we're using Chart B. Sometimes we're using Chart A. And it depends. Even if you're in the US, if it's a family preference, you need a what's it called? A waiver. Okay. So it's based on your mom and she's a resident, then you are eligible for a waiver. But that's why for anyone who's been waiting and waiting, saying, oh, it's a long wait time, so I'll just wait. I won't file a petition. Well, file a petition so you can get your ticket in line, basically. Your prior date, your receipt notice is the ticket. Okay, so don't wait on it. All right. But for someone like MG007, you already have the petition on file, it sounds like. So yeah, just stay tuned. Keep checking this website, and I'll make sure to put a link to it. Okay. Let me see if I can find that for y'all. Why does it take so long? It's based on Congress, based on like a law from, I think, when JFK was president, for around the 50s or something, right? 50s, around that time. That was when 50s, 60s. I got my history all wrong, but that was when JFK was president, and they set quotas, basically a limitation, a visa ceiling on the maximum number of visas per category. But if you really want to know why, it's U.S. Congress trying to control the number of people coming into America. This is the this is the legal way to block people from coming to get status. Okay, this is the I guess you can say the virtual border wall to come, to get the legal status. Okay. Yeah. So in these situations, especially even if you filed a petition already and have that on file from a long time ago, or even recently, you might want to consider employment based. Okay. So again, that's why we go live, because I don't like to assume this, but most people are in this situation. So MG, you don't have to share on here live show, but maybe MG or someone like him or her is here in America without status, or overstayed. Then you need, number one, the tip here is you need to talk to a lawyer to make sure you're qualified for a waiver, family unity waiver. But also the other concept is maybe you can get sponsored by a company. Okay. It's also complex. There's a lot of things involved in that, but we try to make it as easy as possible and share the steps with not only just you as the foreign national immigrant, but also the company. So the company can make an easier decision to sponsor you or not. Okay. So, yeah, we're very upfront with that, because a lot of employers I've heard complain and say, I wish I knew this, right? Anyone would say that. So that's why we share a lot of things up front, as many things as possible. Okay, folks. Thanks, Tasha. Appreciate it. Let's see what I'll share with you. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. Again, if you appreciate all the content we've shared with you from time to time, and if you spoke with one of our CARES team members, please share your feedback at www.reviewteamlaw.com. All right. Thank you so much. And if you have a question, go to our website up here, freevisaquiz.com. Download a free guide on our website, greencardguys.com, or give us a call. All righty. Appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.